and I am a professor of public policy and a professor of finance at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. My work really focuses on what's known as the geography of innovation. That was the title of my doctoral dissertation and my first book. I think for a long time there's a general belief that academic research would create the knowledge that would lead to industrial innovation. And looking at this on a geographic level, what we see is that universities are necessary but not sufficient to create innovation and economic growth, economic development. And so my first job at Johns Hopkins was a great first job, but I was really at the counterfactual place where we had a superb research university that was doing, at the time, the largest amount of federally funded research, but not generating a lot of innovation and very few spin-off firms. So people hold up the example of MIT and of Stanford, and those are very different cases. And many times there is a, I think, rather naive belief that you can leverage a local university to create economic activity. And universities are just so complicated. They're very complicated in their organizational form and in the way that faculty are incentivized and rewarded, the types of support services available to them, what the faculty study, and also their culture, the way they look at interaction with commercial activity. And so studying Johns Hopkins was very interesting. With my co-author, Janet Bercovitz, we started to look at preeminent research universities that had not been active in tech transfer and tried to understand the reasons why. And so that led us to look at university tech transfer offices, the way they were staffed, the reporting relationships, and then also the way that they were resourced and worked with faculty. And so sort of doing this right is complicated, right? And it really is not an easy recipe. I think so many times in economic development, people are looking for quick recipes, quick fixes. And I like to say that coming up with the best fix for an area, the most appropriate sort of intervention, is the ultimate local innovation. That you need to understand the context that you're working with, the resources that you have, both the potential and the limitations, and then crafting something long-term becomes critically then an interactive and engaged process. I really do feel that the university itself needs to interact. To be entrepreneurial, the university needs to interact with its local economy. And this is, again, an iterative process. And I must say that I'm currently in the Research Triangle in North Carolina. And so this is a region that is geographically bound by 3 research universities. So my home university, the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, Duke, which is a private institution, and North Carolina State University, which has a superb engineering school. And even with sort of the area being defined by these 3 resources, most of the spin-off activity has come from the spawns of GlaxoSmithKline and Burroughs Wellcome. So those were people who left a large multinational company to then start their own firms. And they really helped to change and create an entrepreneurial ecosystem in this region that didn't have one. And so it's a sort of a fundamental surprise for us to realize that the university could spin off a few firms, but you needed to get to a critical mass. And having this sort of mergers, layoffs from a large pharmaceutical company created a lot of spawns, and that helped to create this primordial soup that then made the ecosystem much richer. I think in this modern economy, right, knowledge is the most important asset. And so the sort of human creativity, the novelty that we are able to see, that we're not able to extract from artificial intelligence. And I think that we, as a society, never know where the next Einstein or Mozart will come from. And as a woman, I'm concerned that many times women are not able to fully participate in the economy. And this specifically happens in engineering fields, where there are studies now that find that at age 6, young women perform as well as young men in math, but women perform better in English and language skills. And so that it's relative performance. So they prefer English and language skills because that's where they have a comparative advantage. And so that doesn't mean that they're bad at math. They're equal in math. But I think we need to break down some of these barriers.